It's 420 somewhere, and right now that somewhere is right here on the Cannabis Show. Hey there, I'm Janae Burris.
I'm Jake Brown, and welcome to the Cannabis Show, where we talk all things weed.
Welcome home, Jake.
Thank you.
So nice, you conveniently missed all the garbage weather here in Colorado.
See, now that's Janae speaking like a true California transplant.
He thinks that's an insult, it's not.
Listen, some people actually like a little spring snow.
Just weird people.
Just a little bit. I prefer seeing it from a beach via Facebook. So thank you to the Cape Fear Comedy Festival for having me out to North Carolina. It was beautiful. It was scenic. I didn't drink any daiquiris. I did get to smoke some what I would call mids in Carolina.
Did you get to smoke out there?
Don't be too proud of it, Carolina. Okay. Yeah, they were like, smell this. And I was like, smell what?
Oh, cool.
How was your show at the Dab
You're
Lounge?
like, your baby is ugly.
Yeah.
I'm Jake Brown, and I host a Cannabis Show.
Like,
smells like garbage.
I'm like, pinch it. I'm like, it's sativa, I guess. Have fun.
Man.
How was your Dab Lounge show?
Dab Lounge, Colorado Springs. That was great. The whole audience was high as heck. And so I got on that level.
Okay.
And did my time.
Wait, did you dab the lounge?
I dabbed a little bit. Now, dab people are very friendly. Pushy as heck.
Okay, that's one way to say it. It's so Colorado friendly.
Yeah, I got to try sauce. Have you heard of sauce?
Tell me more about what they told you sauce was.
They told me, okay, first of all, they told me sauce. They were like, it's the best. It's top tier. Okay. That's what they kept pushing. It's top. It's the best. You know, this dude with this.
And that was it.
Dude that looked very jam band told me it's the best.
Okay.
And I wanted to trust him with his Jankos on. But he said that it was the terpenes.
Yep.
Which I had just heard from someone snootier. That I should not be looking for the terpenes.
That was me, wasn't
it? Snooty. But I was looking for something that didn't have terpenes, and this guy kept saying it's got all the terpenes. And so I was very confused as to why I would want to just taste watermelon or grape.
I want to know why you don't want terpenes. It's like the flavor part. I thought we were working on this, Janae.
I thought I wanted to taste the weed and not the like.
The terpenes are the flavor. Okay, so we're gonna huddle up after the show.
Narc.
But now let's kick it off because it's time for the weekend weed.
All right.
Let's kick things off in Bali, where an Australian woman who was convicted in 2005 of smuggling 9 pounds of herb is finally headed back to her home country, where people used to be sent because they were convicts.
Oh.
Now, Chappelle Corby, then 27, was the central figure in what was figuratively the Aussie O.J. Simpson trial, and literally the biggest thing to hit the country since a dingo ate my baby. They've even coined the phrase Chappelled, which means that someone gets a raw deal, which is very different than the American Dave Chappelle, which is when someone walks away from $50 million. Now, she returns on May 27th to what is expected to be Kardashian-level fanfare. Janae, I know that you're scared to death of being locked up abroad.
Yes, number one fear, and they made a TV show about it, so that's weird.
That's like for me, Arachnophobia, the movie, but for you, it's just like what, having small amounts of weed on you?
Oh God, I just go clean, you know, just pills when I travel. So.
When I was traveling down to North Carolina, I had to put all my vitamins in a little old lady pill case. that's
to hide them.
Right
I
now.
like that. Like a
or old man pill case. I don't know.
Oh no. But no, that's terrifying to me, and I'm glad that she did not have to serve all of that time. That was really. But I mean, those were the best years of her life. She'll never be that skinny again. Unfortunately.
I mean, that was the big thing, is that it was reported all over, and basically only the Fox News of Australia was like, yeah, throw the book at her. And I am so sorry for my Australian accent to anyone.
Was that what that was?
Yeah, it was an attempt.
I thought that was a Fox News.
An attempt was made.
Colonel Sanders voice you were, okay. Not terrible.
Thank you.
Fox News says, which I feel like people tune out immediately when they hear that Fox News says. Look at that. Everybody
Charlie Brown.
Nobody wants to hear Fox News says. Okay, Fox News says Colorado town overrun by weed smoking panhandlers. Residents push back. They did not like that. Now, the town in question is Durango. Beautiful, picturesque. snow-filled, snow-capped mountain resort town, and I just can't resist the impulse to disagree with whatever Fox News says whenever possible. Even if I have no clue about what I'm debating. Set a timer, Vince. I want to argue. I want to waste my breath.
Janae's soapbox now.
Get right up on the dope box. Can I stand on this? Yeah, that feels nice and comfortable. I want to rant about something I know nothing about. Here it comes. Alternate possibility, Fox News. Those are not panhandlers. Those are skiers trying to get their lift tickets sponsored, okay? So help them out. The sunburned skin and dirty sandy blonde hair would make you believe that they live outside, which they sort of do. But don't you think for 1 second, Fox News, that these panhandlers wouldn't hesitate to call daddy if they truly needed it, okay? They don't need your change. What business of yours is it if they do panhandle in a resort town to get by? This makes the most sense to me. This is where the people with the extra income come to blow the entertainment budgets. The timer's still going, Vince. All right, they can spare a few shillings. Asking for money in a resort town makes way more sense than asking outside of Walmart or like a check cashing / chicken shack, okay, which is the last place I got asked for money. I obviously don't have even a bank account. Resort tourists are the kids at Chuck E. Cheese who get to pick out the top tier prizes. You know, the kids with a whole bunch of tickets to throw around. They can get like a boombox or a Nintendo gaming system. Who can afford to play that many games where you get that many tickets? Why not just buy the Nintendo?
All right, that was like, I don't know what the timer says up here. It's going in post. I feel like that was 5 minutes of Janae in 60 seconds. Thank you, kudos.
What did we learn?
Well done.
What did we learn? Nothing.
I'm just stuck on Nintendos. Speaking of gaming systems, a few clever entrepreneurs in Washington, D.C. believe that they have found a gray area that allows them to deliver weed as long as customers are willing to drop $60 on a half dozen cookies. So watch out, Girl Scouts. First they come and they take your name. Now they're going to move in on your pastry turf, all right? Just protect your neck. Now, D.C. police are investigating these cases around the pot-omic, but one person calls it as easy as using the app Grubhub. I'm just happy to see something in Washington with a positive approval rating.
Oh, all right. Okay. He's happy. Thousands arrested for weed before California legalization apply to have sentences, convictions reduced. Okay, that was hard. That was a mouthful. I'll say that one more time. Thousands arrested for weed before California legalization apply to have their sentences and convictions reduced. That's it, y'all. I have nothing snarky to say about this. This is great news. This is progress. There are many people in our system who, after serving their time, have a really hard time finding jobs and housing because of marijuana convictions. So, good luck to you all.
Wait, what's happened to you, Janae? I think that's 0 booze on the week?
No booze! We had no booze on this episode. You know what? We hardly got to talk about Jeff Sessions at all, so I don't have a whole lot to complain about other than the weather. That's it. It sucked. The weather sucked.
Well, let's not go to Sessions, but let's go to his neighboring state of Georgia, where there's one kid who actually wants his dad to pick him up from high school. This is 17-year-old CJ Harris, and he suffers from epilepsy, takes CBD oil to control his seizures, but can't possess it on Warner Robins High School property. So leaving at lunch to get high was how I made it through my senior year, but the oil doesn't give Harris an intoxicating effect since it doesn't contain THC. Still, his father has to show up with the bottle and drive him around the block, which should be proof enough that it's definitely medicine, because I would do anything to avoid a car ride with my mom if I was getting high.
Your mom's a real nice lady, though.
Well, she is,
That's
but
pretty cool.
She makes you feel weird if you're high sometimes.
Really?
She asks you weird questions, like, how long are your arms? Yeah, it's just, and then she has you stretch them out, and then she tickles you.
That also sounds like something your
trap.
mom would say, though. The person who mothered Jake Brown, yes, that makes sense.
Oh, shout out to Deb Brown. This week in cannabis numerology, we've got our largest number yet. That's 35 million. Any guesses on what that is in reference to, Janae?
35 million. I would say 35 million could be referring to the number of Americans who have no teeth. I know that as a fact. Most of my teeth have holes in them, and the ones that don't have holes are holes.
I've several times wished I could just have more teeth.
I just need a couple more. I mean, I got enough. I'm managing.
Do you have like one side you can chew with?
I have one side I can chew with for now. We'll
and then it shifts sometimes, though. Then you got to go lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty.
Lose a little weight.
No, actually, 35 million is the number of people who consume marijuana at least twice a month, according to a survey by Yahoo News and Marist University, which considers this regular use.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Regular use. Twice a month is regular use. Everybody.
That's you're staying regular, America. Nearly half of all Americans have tried marijuana at least once. Hey, we qualify. We're half of all Americans.
I'm normal.
I mean, what do you think?
One of my sisters has never ever tried marijuana. Never.
What are you working on with her?
She came here to visit, and I smoked in front of her.
Okay.
And
so
I
you give her the
offered
secondhand experience?
Gave her a little secondhand, blew it right in her nostrils.
You guys are close. This is maybe an only child that don't know about some of this stuff.
I offered it to her, though. I offered it because, as a tourist sort of thing. I was like, you're
when in Rome.
It's legal. And I think her main hang-up is that she is deeply Christian.
Okay.
And she just is not going to break any laws or rules.
Under the Lord.
Under the Lord.
All right,
under the Lord's watchful eye.
Did you try and take her to Cannabis Church?
Oh my God. Whew, that would be.
Wait, yeah, because that could get dicey.
My grandma would hear about that. No way, dude. No way.
All right,
we only talk Jesus in church. Jesus only. Sorry, y'all.
For more on this story and the rest of the Week in Weed, visit us online at thecannabis.co. Now let's go to a tinier, more serious desk where our business and policy writer Alicia Wallace has this week's quick hit.
Medical marijuana could cut into pharmaceutical prescription spending in America by $4 billion per year. That's the latest prediction from New Frontier Data, a cannabis analytics firm. The Cannabist got an early look at the report, which utilized a 2016 study on Medicare Part D spending in medical marijuana states. New Frontier examined 9 ailments for which cannabis has been shown to be a potentially effective therapy. By New Frontier's math, the average 11% decline in prescription spending for those conditions would amount to an annual substitution cost starting at $4.4 billion. That would be a drop in the bucket for the nearly $500 billion U.S. pharmaceutical industry. Now, that crystal ball forecast may not prove exactly true because New Frontier's research assumes national legalization, and how that could be structured is tough to predict. But drug policy expert Robert Mikos says the data likely are meant to show more than possible numbers. If the data are sound, New Frontier is illustrating that a portion of the population could benefit from national medical marijuana legalization, Mikos said. You can check out the report as well as additional analysis at thecannabist.co. For The Cannabist, I'm Alicia Wallace with this week's Quick Hit.
Thanks, Alicia. Our first guest this week is the producer of the annual 420 rally here in Denver's Civic Center Park. It's right across the street. Welcome to the Cannabis Show, Santino Walter. Hey, thanks so much for coming on. Have a seat. So you had some rough news this week, man, and I was shocked to hear it.
I was shocked to hear as well.
For people that aren't up to speed, people that aren't here in the Denver area, can you tell me what happened to the 420 rally? And I will tell people that are listening, this was the biggest story on our site this week. I mean, frankly, it was weird to not talk about it in the Week in Weed, because this is huge news.
This is huge news. So, to get everybody caught up,
Sure.
Miguel Lopez owns a permit that allows us to produce, the largest 420 celebration in the nation. And we partnered up about 4 years ago to really take this event to a festival-style event while still keeping the core message intact, and successfully produced the event the last 4 years. I think everybody saw the trash situation that took place. The story was about the trash. The trash story ultimately led to what we thought was an unfair ruling of them banning our event for 3 years.
Now explain, because I think people did see the trash, right? It's visual, it's something that people connect with right away, and they go, yeah, a bunch of stoners wrecked the park. Well, can you kind of talk about, there was a time frame that you had to have the park cleaned up, right?
Absolutely. We turned in a cleaning proposal to the city and county of Denver, and we
because the proposal process itself is pretty arduous. You guys have to have plans for everything, right?
Correct. We meet with the mayor's office 8 to 12 times before the event actually happens.
Ooh.
We tell them exactly what we are going to do. The day of the event, we had to, this is a $500,000 annual production. During the course of this year's event, we had 2 scheduling errors. We had a trash company that didn't bring us trash cans till about noon, so we went 2 hours without trash cans on the park, which we put on there. And the second was we had just to put in perspective, we spent $12,000 cleaning the park the day of and the day after the event. Of that $12,000, there was a $1,200 scheduling mistake where for about 6 hours, we had about 160 trash bags on the park.
Okay.
And you know what? We apologize. We made the mistake. The permit holders, Miguel is the permit holder, Santino is the producer, admit that we did not want that to happen. Now, the tricky part is, we had the permit for 3 days. We had it the day before 420, 420, and on 421.
In the past, there's been different programming on 421. This is an event that has its roots in activism,
Absolutely.
in what Ken Gorman, wanted to say, having an event between, the Capitol and the Denver, courthouse. And
Ken Gorman, through his activism and his pioneership, is the one who actually handed the permit off to Miguel Lopez. And it was when the city and county of Denver 4 years ago, after the unfortunate shooting that took place, made Miguel step up to doing a festival-style permit, and then that's when we partnered up.
Okay,
and I think that's kind of a common theme of what we've seen the past 4 years is anything the city and county of Denver has presented to Miguel as a permit holder and me as a producer, we truly felt we've lived up to those expectations and delivered on what we said we would do.
Right, and so, it kind of seems like the city might have a little buyer's remorse in this case where, they approved this trash production schedule or trash removal schedule. But, one thing that I've kept hearing echoed, because this is all over my Facebook, is that people are like, the apology wasn't contrite enough. They said, that we wanted to hear, this, we understand the outrage, and, what do you say to those people?
I'll be honest with you. I think we did say that. I think we were embarrassed that we left the trash on the park for the 4 to 6 hours that we didn't want to have it on the park.
Sure.
I think so we do apologize for that, and we do take responsibility for that. I think kind of our conversation now is that we've spent over $2 million the last 4 years producing this event. We've successfully processed over 300,000 visitors to this event the past 4 years.
Right.
We've booked Lil Wayne, Wiz Khalifa, Rick Ross, 2 Chainz, B.O.B., Wyclef Jean, The Expendables, Zion I, Devin the Dude, Too Short. We spent over $1 million
in producing
free talent for the people of Denver to enjoy. And
well, anytime there's a music event and I know most of the names, that's a good sign, because I'm 34 now. Most of the artists now I see on music festival posters, I'm like, who are those guys?
Well, Jake, one of the funny things that happens, you guys, one of the funny things that happens to me and Miguel is we've also kind of seen a lot of people from the cannabis community come up to him and be like, why do you book rappers? Well, one, it represents the community who started this, and 2, we like rap music and we like hip hop music.
It's your festival, right?
And we are the producers and the permit holders who have spent the $2 million bringing this here. So we felt like we kind of have the right to book who we like.
Right.
And to, again, another number to throw out there, out of the 300,000 visitors that this event has had the past 4 years, we've had no shootings, we've had no stabbings, we've had no fights, we've had nothing.
Okay.
And I don't think you can say that about downtown Denver on a Saturday night where everybody's getting drunk.
Yeah, there's usually shootings.
And fights.
There's usually shootings.
It's downtown, major city downtown.
And that's probably the core of, we really felt that they took the spirit of Ken Gorman and everything Miguel has done on the activism side, the spirit of the $2 million we've spent as a production company bringing a world-class event to the city and county of Denver, and we feel like they're trying to demean it and peg us on the 4 hours that trash was left on the park. Again, we apologize.
Yeah.
We made a mistake, but we're not going to let this event and this mission statement be deemed reduced down to that 4 hours.
Right. Now, one of the other big things so they levied some fines against you guys, and some significant fines. Another one of their big issues was people crashing the gates. I don't think I've ever been to an event where somebody hasn't snuck in, but I mean, what was the scope of that problem?
So again, we don't even view it as a problem. Literally,
that's
you guys,
a bold statement. I
we
like
don't.
it.
The violation that they sent to us was that we had long lines for our events. Well, yes, because we promote a free show featuring a Grammy Award-winning artist on a very popular date. We see more people in one day than any of the historical events. Not Cinco de Mayo, Taste of Colorado, Pride.
Taste of Colorado kind of sucks too, unless you're in the market for some like turquoise jewelry and overpriced food.
You know, nobody sees the volume of people that we process in one day.
Now, what about people that come to you and they say, well, you know, this is a cannabis event and you're always going to be held to a higher standard?
Well, we felt like we've delivered on that higher standard. I mean, again, to circle back to your question on the fencing, the past 4 years we have spent over $150,000 creating a fence barrier to Civic Center Park, and another $150,000 on event staffing and security to make sure that people get processed safely into the park. The fence was down for 5 minutes. Our event staff put the fence back up. The real problem here, and a big concern me and Miguel have had with the city and county of Denver, is I really felt like they ran with this photo opportunity, right? And they really wanted to play got you, like, got you, we got you in these pictures, here's what you did. When in reality, they approved the fencing plan. They approved the amount of security guards that we had to process the people entering into the park. Me and Miguel Lopez, they actually cited us as one of our violations of obstructing the street, and they took a picture of the people waiting to get into the event standing in the bus lane on Colfax and Broadway. Now, me and Miguel Lopez have asked for his permit to be allowed to close Colfax and Broadway the last 3 years.
And that's not atypical of other events, right?
Not at all.
There are a lot of events where that's shut down.
And I think the question would be, why will you let events that aren't seeing anywhere near the amount of volume of people we are, why will you allow them to do that?
What do you think the answer to that is? Like, who's opposing making this event even better?
Because I don't think, you know, Mayor Hancock came on and said he doesn't like to see the big plume of smoke. You know, Miguel could probably reference this better, but there's been numerous times where the mayor has said he's not a fan of this event. I just honestly believe the past 3 years we've ran it perfectly, and this is the first year there was a couple human errors in here. Like I said, on the $1,200 trash pickup and everything else, I think they took this as an opportunity to pounce.
It sounded really petty too. When everything I read, like you're talking about 100,000 people and the millions of dollars spent, and the only numbers I read were like 11,000 something, and then $190. I was like, what are you mentioning this $190 for?
I mean, you guys, the $12,000 fine, we spent more on porta potties for this event.
Porta potties, price going up.
Yeah, so I mean, just to put it in perspective, we're willing to pay the fines even on some of the stuff that we made. The vicious act on the city's part was the way they stalked, you know, and piled up these violations.
Well, is there a precedent for this length of ban?
No, this is actually, they're referencing something that was just put in place. There's a 2016 special event committee and special event packet that essentially gave Happy Haynes and the city of Denver the ability to levy fines and levy you know, punishment on different events. So no, there is no history of this. This is something new that they're referencing.
And so you feel like you're being made an example of?
I just feel like their appeal, like that, what they sent to us, that our appeal will crush it.
Yeah,
I feel like
you do have an opportunity to appeal?
Oh, we do. We have 15 days. Our attorney, Rob Corey, is actively piecing this together right now.
If he's not letting the wind blow through his hair as he rides his motorcycle around town,
some
I
gray
love
hair.
seeing Rob.
That guy has some gray hair.
I'm jealous. So you're planning on an appeal, and then if the appeal process doesn't go through, you want to take this to court?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I think that our vision and our hope is that the 420 rally will be produced at Civic Center Park Friday, April 20th, 2018. That's what our heart wants, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what we're going to appeal, and that's what we're going to hope that Miguel holds on to his permit. Now, we will also say that with or without the Civic Center Park permit, the 420 rally will still produce the largest cannabis festival in the nation, whether if we have to go find another venue, because we are great at producing the event we produce.
What about people that say, why not just let the rally go back to its roots? Why not have everybody show up and it's, you know, a day of activism, and there, you know, doesn't have to be a big concert, that there can just be people getting together and uniting as a community.
Jake, this is what I don't understand when people ask that question.
Okay.
Why can't it be both? It's been that the past 4 years. We are successfully bringing tens of thousands of people to. This isn't just a hip-hop concert that we throw.
Fair enough.
We give over 15 vendor spaces to different nonprofits every year, ranging from the Park Hill Falcon Football Youth League to different...
Wait, there's a football youth league that's represented at the rally?
Yeah, to make money, to pay for people's jerseys. You know, they sell goods. You know, they don't have kids running around.
Thank God.
But there is an opportunity for that foundation to raise money and sell stickers and T-shirts to make sure that little kids have the money to afford to play football. You know, and that's one of 15 that we use. The rally has never lost its message. Miguel still has a very close relationship with Ken Gorman's daughter. You know, they meet every week before this event happens, and they talk about the different struggles of the cannabis community. We have not stopped focusing on the different things that are involved with this event. We've just given it a bigger platform and a bigger stage.
Now it sounds like you're ready to fight.
I think we are. You know, and the funny part is, I always hear from the cannabis community, you need to involve the cannabis community more. Well, if the Denver marijuana advertising laws allowed us to participate with dispensaries, because I don't know if you know or not, but
there were people getting ticketed, weren't there?
Well,
for a flyer.
Well, there was a people.
That's a whole different.
Yeah, there's one vendor booth who was handing out stickers, and you can't. Kind of taking it to the core of our event is. We've produced the largest cannabis festival, the largest 420 festival in the nation the past 4 years, essentially without being able to take money from the people who are making millions of dollars selling cannabis. There's tens of thousands of people who travel here for 420, not only to visit our event, but to go visit 8 to 12 other dispensaries and go buy their stuff and really enjoy their 420 weekend. Due to Denver marijuana advertising laws, we haven't even been allowed to have any of these retailers have vending spaces or properly promote themselves, and we've still been able to produce a Class A event. So,
well, who knows what's going to happen? You know, the goal is 2018. I wish you the best of luck. And Santino, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to have more with you in just a moment. But first, it's our own Professor Pat with this week's entry into the new Cannabis lexicon.
Diffuser. Part of many heady glass rigs and water pipes. Diffusers come in many configurations, but their purpose is the same: to add additional sites for the fermentation of bubbles as well as help with airflow. Diffusers and all the agitation that they create help to cool the smoke or vapor prior to inhalation, which makes it smoother on the lungs and often more flavorful. For example, this piece has a 6-hole diffuser and it hits super smooth.
Our second guest today is the author of my new favorite book on weed. Give it up for Ashley Picillo? No, we gotta do that again.
Yeah.
No. You won't let me take that again?
Do it. That was live. Let's do it live.
Picillo.
How are you?
Actually, let's do it.
I was like, I know how to say it, but damn it, it's time to say it.
We're gonna call this your cardio.
It's Italian.
Picillo. Thanks, Professor. Our second guest today. Our second. Thanks, Professor. I'm going to be so red at this point. Thanks, Professor. Our second guest today is the author of my new favorite book on weed. Give it up for Ashley Picillo, everybody. Hey! Thank you so much for coming on.
That's me.
Welcome to the show. I am in love with this book.
Awesome.
It's so much fun. I maybe it's because I know so many people in there.
Probably. That helps.
But it was so much fun. Where did this idea come from?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think I do a lot of technical writing for my career, so I'm pretty good at writing, I think. And I wanted to do something a little more creative, a little more out of the box than the norm. And then I came up with, well, I think the phrase is used a lot, but I came up with the idea to pitch at South by Southwest, and it was accepted in October and November, and they said, hey, if you have a book, you can put it in the bookstore. And it's like,
ooh.
can I do this?
And I was like following throughout South by. It looked like you were having a blast. So the book is
fun.
Breaking the Grass Ceiling.
Yep.
When did you get started? Like when did, in earnest, you were like, all right, I got to make it happen now?
So the book happened in 45 days. Yeah, it was an endeavor. I started making phone calls to women in mid-December, and the book went to editors on Super Bowl weekend. So it was really fast. I know a few of the women. Jennifer Murray was one. Like, what are you trying to do? And by when? And it's the holidays.
I think that's like every conversation I've ever had with Jennifer
Yeah,
Murray, though.
yeah.
She's just like, what? Okay.
But I'm in anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So she's been super supportive, as were all of the women, and I was just completely blown away with, you know, their interest and also their ability to work with me in a very, very short timeline.
So it was. What's the process look like? Because it's a lot of profiles of these, you know,
Yep.
amazing women that I've come to know. But now you get to share their stories, and it's almost like a little biography of all
Yeah.
of these people. You know, what was that process like? I mean, other than fast, did you have an idea of what you wanted to talk about, or were there people that really weren't on your radar, where people were like, oh, you got to talk to her?
Yeah, a lot of that happened. And we, you know, I think I sent out 5 or 10 sort of feeler emails to see what the interest level was. Like I said, it was almost immediate interest, which was great. A lot of the women I knew, quite a few that I did not. A lot of them were referrals, but the kicker was if you didn't call me back or get an interview scheduled with me by the end of December, you were in the sequel. There's no time. So basically, I mean, we interviewed. Lauren Devine is the co-author of the book, so we had an aggressive month of interviewing in December, and you know, every woman got sort of a list of possible questions that we might go over, and you know, we're describing it as a biographical collection. So they are 5 or 6 page biographies for each of the women that are featured, and you know, I think the goal was to draw attention to certainly some women that you do know and that you've heard a lot about, and others that maybe fly under the radar a bit more.
Now, what was the most rewarding part of putting this all together? Was it the people that were, you know, maybe flying under the radar, being able to give them a platform? Was it just being able to say, hey, 45 days later, we have a book? What was kind of a surprise?
That was pretty cool. Getting to know the women, honestly. I mean, there are a few, like I said, that, you know, I could call friends beforehand, but I feel like I gained 21 amazing friends and colleagues, and you know, there are stories that you read about all the time, especially for some of these women, but a lot of them have called me since and just said that, you know, they learned a lot about each other, and that we did touch on things that aren't normally picked up, you know, and haven't been covered by the media in the past. So I think
in terms of,
you know, just parts of their story that maybe didn't get a lot of attention. You know, I think when you look up some of these women, we see a lot of the same stories and about their past and their background. And it was very rewarding to hear women talking about, you know, what they learned from the experience, given that, you know, they're the ones in the book and they're the ones we're supposed to be learning from. So that was impactful and rewarding for me.
if you could add one person to the book now, if you were
Oh
like,
my gosh.
oh, I
There's so many.
you only got one.
I know.
The world is ending, and this is going to be the definitive book about the women of cannabis that aliens find many, I'm going to say decades later? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of women. I think you'd be a great fit, Janae, just based on listening to you today.
Janae, you're a cannabis woman.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. I had to tell my mom because she's not into it. Please put me in a book legitimizes things for me.
A couple of women have said they mailed this to their mothers, sent them out for Mother's Day gifts, used them as sort of talking points with their grandmas and stuff like that. So that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, because that's so part of the discussion is that not everybody is necessarily out in the world of weed.
Yeah, and I think a book is pretty approachable. I mean, it's not. You're not signing on to go and watch a full movie. You don't have to go to an event. I mean, I think people graduate to those things as they want to learn more about cannabis. But a book is something that, I mean, at least in my opinion, anyone can get their hands on. And I think the way that the book is structured allows you to get a feel really quickly for the style and what you're going to take away from it. So if it isn't a good fit, you've invested 20 minutes and $15 on a book from Amazon.
Yeah, and
you're
invest
supporting
that.
women.
Come on, get out there.
Yes.
And you've been getting out there. I've been seeing all of these book signings. Are you able to kind of keep in touch with people or be in their cities with the book?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a little uncomfortable for me. I tend to
why?
being, I don't know, I think I like to sort of stay in the background of things. I'm definitely more of an operations person than a figurehead by any means, so it's pushing me out of my own comfort zone. Even being here is pushing me out of it.
I'm like, you're such a natural.
Well, thanks. But yeah, it's definitely, a lot more attention than I'm used to or have experienced in cannabis, so.
Have you had any weird moments at a book signing yet?
Not particularly weird. South by was funny because the book signing immediately after ours was this very famous sort of interior designer from Japan. She had 100 people lined up for her book signing. So we took pictures pretending that line was ours. And I do like those, but no, nothing notably weird yet.
Well played. I like any kind of time you can get guerrilla marketing at South by Southwest,
Exactly.
You got to go for it.
Yeah, I moved some books around on the shelves as well. There's some pictures online of Tim Ferriss's book, and every time I walk through, I just swap them around. And
Tim Ferriss doesn't need any more dollars. And Tim Ferriss, you can come on the show. I'll fight you over that.
And I think he would be supportive.
Leg wrestle, all right, buddy?
Yeah,
he would.
He would totally support the strategy.
He loves absolutely. He's a life hacker.
Yeah.
I guess is just the weirdest way to describe Tim Ferriss.
It's fair.
Speaking of kind of the entrepreneurial the world. What are you doing with Denver Startup Week? I saw something online where, are you taking part or what's going on?
So we're looking for votes.
Okay.
So anyone wanting to vote for an amazing panel, there's a couple of awesome women doing a few weed panels this year. So I hope they all get attention. Ours is under the same name as the book, Breaking the Glass Ceiling. So that was kind of the other thought when we put the piece together, that hopefully this could sort of tour different events and different women, whether they're in the book or not, could participate at the event and speaking level. Again, trying to give women who maybe aren't always in the spotlight the opportunity to share their stories when they're maybe not thought of out of the gate.
It can be like the new vagina monologue.
Yes, I love that.
You got to get those, Janae knows about this college speaking gig money, right?
Oh,
you get that college tour.
That's good money. It's good money and a great audience though, because they're future fans, and they're just going to grow and love you more over time. Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, when can people expect the sequel out? Breaking the Glass Ceiling 2, Cannabis Boogaloo?
We're definitely I've gotten a lot of emails from people interested in.
They're like, put me in your book.
Yeah, when is it coming out? I guess for me, it's just finding another 45 days to sort of weasel that together. But
you can't get it down to 40 this time?
I know. I have to work on the
But then the book itself will also, I think, usher in a new generation of women. So then you'll have volume 5 at some point, because you're just going to help more women get into the industry, I think, by hearing each other's stories.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just like a yearly, all right, here's the Women's Almanac of 2018.
I like that.
The Women's Almanac.
Uh-huh.
That's how it should all be, just
just
our almanac.
All right. I want to bring Santino back in, and I want to ask you both, what's your favorite way to weed? Do you do flower, concentrate? Do you do edibles? Some people say topicals. So, there's not been a different way yet, but if you've got another
I smoke
one.
flower and dab. I'm pretty consistent.
So you're a flower and dab?
Every day.
Do you mix the two? Do you throw?
No, I don't mix the
Or
two.
never the twain shall.
Nah, if I smoke flower, I probably smoke a blunt.
Okay.
Or hit a bong.
Favorite rap?
Zigzag blueberry or zigzag vanilla.
Ready.
Vanilla?
Ready.
I don't know anybody that does vanilla.
Oh, you do now.
Oh, snap.
And I do it right.
Oh, man. Do we have time
I
after
usually
the
smoke
show?
blunts or bongs if I'm doing flower, and then I have a dab rig.
So are you like an old school like Rello guy where you used to crack them open, or do you just go the
No,
pre-wrap?
I can't. The pre-wraps was the best thing
Ever
ever invented. Like there's zero. If you open up a blunt in front of me, like I'm gonna look at you sideways. I'm gonna be like, They're like, do you want to roll a backwood? I'm like, no.
A backwood?
I don't.
Oh,
I
I've
don't even know
heard
if I
that
want
in
to
a
smoke
while.
that. You know, honestly, I usually have like some on me, and I'll be like, you roll your own, and I'll roll my own. That way, we're not even swapping.
And then are you doing like a rig or a nectar collector? How are you dabbing?
I usually nectar collector.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
the
become
What is that?
increasingly popular.
I learn so much every week. My
Janae
goodness.
is like, what? To what?
Last week, volcano I learned about.
Which is
The
like,
essential
get
desktop
Get this girl a
college
nectar
thing.
collector.
nectar collector.
if you're at home and you own a nectar collector, I don't think send it to the
Send-
Denver Post.
Yeah.
But Janae's
700
personal
nectar
contact
collectors
information's
show up
all
the
I
over
will
the
give
internet.
it to you. I will give it to you.
She will provide the address at the end of the show.
Sweet me
to
at
mail
least
you
that
nectar
negative
collector.
Negro.
Ashley, what about
know.
you?
Oh man, definitely indicas every night, primarily flower to sleep.
Yeah? Do you
got
have
in-
a favorite right now?
I think, what do I have at home? Northern Lights,
Okay.
and then
Classic?
I think Triple X OG from Simply Pure. I get everything from Simply Pure.
Triple-
Love Wanda.
Triple X OG at Wanda, another
Yep,
woman in
yep,
cannabis,
another woman in
featured
cannabis.
in the book.
Yep.
And I don't think I've ever smoked Triple X OG.
I mean,
Does it look like
anything
Vin
that will
Diesel? Is it
help
just
me
like shaved
sleep.
down?
Yeah, shaved head and everything. Comes in the bottle.
But you primarily, it's like you're like end of day. Is it
Totally
like,
end of
okay,
day.
so I'm a busy person, I need to wind down at the end of the day, or is it like I have
Yes.
pain and I need to be able to?
No, my mind is just a constant turning, racy, probably a very scary place. So at the end of the day, going to sleep is the priority. And as far as dabbing, the only times I've dabbed and the only times I will dab are in the presence of Rye Pritchard and Kind Bill.
That's
and they
great
set it all
company.
up, and they were like, "You've had the most spoiled dabbing experiences of anyone we've ever known." Rye photographing, Bill serving his private collection and stash.
There are so many jealous people
I
at
know,
home.
I know. And at the time, I don't think I appreciated it. I certainly do now, but yeah, primarily indicas.
Okay, I want to talk about Denver now because it's kind of rare for us to have two guests that are located in Denver on this show anymore. And I see Denver as such a changing environment right now. We have I-300, the rules are starting to come online. There's been a lot of consolidation in businesses, but I want to know, what do you think the biggest changes that you notice in the industry are right now? And not just in the industry too, but in the conversation around cannabis as a whole, whether it's private caregivers, whether it's normalization. I love giving people kind of a look in now that we're, a few years past Amendment 64.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I've been in this around 3 years at this point, and I've seen such an enormous amount of change. I can't even imagine folks that have been in this, like a lot of the women we interviewed since 08 and 09. Massive changes, obviously, since then. But, for me, I think the overall acceptance, the number of women getting involved, the number of like moms and other people that maybe weren't picking up cannabis and were more comfortable or used to drinking a glass of wine at night. Like, I love that there's that shift happening there.
Do you think moms are still as concerned about the DPS ramification, or what is it? What is it? CPS. I just said Denver Public Schools. Wrong acronym, dummy. But are people less concerned? Because that was a big thing. Brittany Driver covered that for the Cannabist, where it was moms scared to have pot in the house.
Yep. I mean, as a non-parent, I mean, I can't imagine what that's like.
You have a great pup.
I do.
But
I do have
nobody's going to come and take away your dog for getting high, I guess.
Yeah, they probably won't. But I don't know. I think, again, not as a mother, so it's hard to say, but the women that I've talked to, and definitely the ones that we've interviewed, are feeling like much more comfortable in their, in their homes. I think some of the recent press has made people a little upset that you might not be able to smoke on your porch. That's not being received as well, but the women that we've chatted with, I think it's important that you talk about, you know, how you prefer to consume, and if this is preferable to you and you'd rather smoke a joint than have a glass of wine, then we need to empower women to talk about that and feel comfortable with that, because there's nothing wrong with it.
No, and that's part of normalization too, right?
Totally.
Having these discussions. Santino, what about you?
Probably the biggest change, you know, being in the industry the past 10 years that I've seen is the transition on the retail model away from the medical model. You know, the first 5 years you had every dispensary who was an apothecary, and they were hiring pretend physicians, you know, and this strain is good for your depression, and this
doctor days, old doctor days.
Oh, you know, and a lot of doctor days, you know, running, you know, a cannabis doctor's license and getting my start in medical marijuana. I think what we've seen now is the social acceptance on, especially a buying level, where you don't need to have a hurt back to justify going and buying an eighth of marijuana. And that's probably the part I'm most excited about, is really pivoting hard. I love my medical people. I love the medical patients. But the reality is there's only about less than 100,000 people on the registry right now. And most of the cannabis being purchased is being purchased by those over the age of 21 who just want to have a glass of wine, smoke a joint the same way somebody else smokes a glass of wine.
Do you think the resources are still there for patients? Because I think that there are a lot of people who use cannabis medically but don't necessarily buy from the medical system. And that's something I struggle with.
Well, and I would say yes, because if you've seen, especially now where you can be an independent cultivator and there's no requirements to be vertically integrated on that level, you now have more product and better product being produced. You mentioned consolidation, right? That's what's really happened this last 2 or 3 years. You have companies who are funded and capitalized coming in, buying, you know, other establishments that weren't that well ran, turning them into much better well run establishments. You're seeing cultivation facilities where the average facility might have cost $300,000. Now you're talking upwards of 10, 15, 20 million to run a grade A cultivation facility. And what that has resulted in is better product and less expensive product. Because I think we all know, if you take the price of an eighth what it was 4 years ago, or even when recreational first started, prices are dropping across the board. You're now having better product made that's less expensive, that's coming with better packaging and labeling. And I think you're seeing the industry leaders right now in this, you know, really like pushing the envelope across the board on creating better products, creating better retail experience, and at a cheaper price.
Are you finding that your clients are kind of echoing the same thing? So we didn't even talk about point 7.
Yeah, I think, I mean, most of my clients at this point are not in Colorado. I'm working with groups in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, Arkansas. So, you know, it's interesting to sort of meet people where they are in their process and their own cannabis journey. And, you know, my clients are certainly closer to what you're describing in terms of building these, you know, multi-million-dollar facilities with the interest of, you know, developing medical grade products and treating, obviously, patient communities in these other states where they don't have a recreational, you know, initiative. But yeah, it's definitely been a huge shift, and I think everything you said is probably driving what I was talking about with, you know, women and new markets of people coming into the space and feeling comfortable purchasing, because the product is of great quality and the experience has improved.
Yeah, that's why my mom will buy weed gummies now, you know, and before she was like...
My mom loves her weed gummies.
Isn't that the thing?
She's going to hate me that I said
that. Yeah, all right. Well, now it's time for everybody's favorite part of the show. It's the pot quiz.
I feel like ready for that. That's where that goes.
Like that.
That's right where that goes.
All right.
Perfect.
We're going to start... wait, who wants to go first?
Ladies first.
Oh man.
I want to be a cannabis gentleman.
All right, Ashley, you're up. Are you ready for question number 1?
Fire away.
Yeah. California. Question number 1. California isn't the only state looking to change the way low-level drug offenses are handled. A second chance bill to let people petition to have their cases sealed is moving forward in the legislature of which state? So a similar second chance bill. Is it A, Texas, B, Nevada, C, Florida, or D, wherever Willie Nelson is currently touring?
Well, that's a great answer, D. I would say it's probably Nevada.
I'm sorry, that is
gonna
incorrect.
go A.
You have a chance to steal, and A is correct. Texas.
Really?
Dang.
Go Texas.
Texas is starting to get
Shocking.
Would not have guessed.
surprisingly progressive on
Coming
these
along.
issues.
I'm suspicious
along.
though.
You
If Texas is being progressive, it's like, well, how much money are they making?
Yeah,
on it?
right.
Like, what's going on?
Well, how
today?
much money are they saving not prosecuting ridiculous crimes?
That's what
That
Houston,
might
the
be-
DA.
yeah.
I think that there's some
that-
savings there. That would be nice if they
Yeah.
could see the savings instead
Yeah,
of the profits.
Houston
of-
decrimmed up to 8 ounces down there. I mean, that's a half pound in Houston. They are allowing you to roll dirty. All right, so that's 1 point for Santino, and he'll get question number 2. Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
All right. According to a new Washington state bill, billboards and other signage for dispensaries can't contain what, in addition to toys or cartoon characters that might appeal to kids? All right, so what of these is not allowed that could appeal to kids? Is it A, food, B, inflatables, C, televisions, or D, dentists?
I'm gonna go food.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. Actually,
I'm
the
gonna
chance to
guess
steal.
inflatables.
That is correct. I don't know
wanted
what
to say
that means.
inflatables, but it sounded
I
so
know.
ridiculous. Like, here's what we're gonna do, dispensary. We want inflatable balloons.
I'm like, what? Okay, so we've got balloons, pool toys. Do those crazy things outside of car dealerships that do this? Is
yeah.
that technically an
Probably
inflatable, or is it wind just passing
I was
through?
just thinking of pool toys for some reason, but that doesn't quite work in an ad.
How is that?
doesn't.
Remember those
I guess
huge
is that
ads?
specifically.
Sit back and enjoy an
Just
age.
specifically
It's just
appeals
like some
to
guy in
kids.
like
Why are you
Hanging
putting
out.
inflatables on billboards
I know.
and
It's
signage?
hard to say.
Okay, so we're all tied up. Back to Ashley with question number 3. A controversial TV movie about Chappelle Corby's life was released in 2014 under what title? Was it A, The Duchess of Dank? Was it B, Corby's Story? Was it C, Chappelle? Or was it D, Along Came Bali?
What was B again?
B was Corby's Story.
What was A again?
The Duchess of Dank, C, Chappelle, or D, Along Came Bali?
Chappelle.
That is correct.
Oh my God.
She said so confidently.
Oh,
You
that'd
don't
be a-
know. You guess C.
That would ruin your
Isn't it?
night.
That is the
Is it
rule.
true?
That's
go to
SAT rule
Redbox.
at least, right?
There's some SAT work going on right
What's
there.
crazy, so she became so famous in Australia that she just is known as Chappelle. She is
Interesting.
elevated to Cher status, or Madonna, depending on who your favorite reference is. All right, you have a
I'm
chance
shocked
to tie
by
it up,
Australia
Santino.
now, though. Is
We got- what's that?
Is that? I'm shocked. I thought there were more exciting things going on in Australia.
No, this was their OJ trial. I mean, and now we just call him the Juice. No, that's not. People just call him OJ. He was already just OJ. All right, Santino, chance to tie it up. What national organization called for the Trump administration to take cannabis off its Schedule 1 designation this week? Was it A, the ACLU, B, the American Legion, C, the National Rifle Association, or D, the Shriners? With their funny
One
little
more
hats.
time. Give me the answers one more time.
A, the ACLU, B, the American Legion, C, the NRA, or D, the Shriners.
A?
I'm sorry, Ashley, with a
It's the
chance.
American Legion.
It is the American Legion, and we have our winner for the week.
right.
Congratulations, Ashley.
Told
We
you
gotta
I
get
studied.
Santino needs to get hooked up with the cannabis, with the what do you call it? The news.
That's what the
news,
websites, the
the
Cannabis
website.
Show.
Get that man a link to the website.
that.
All right, that's a plug for us.
Awesome.
Where can people find you guys on the web?
You can find us at denver420rally.org.
Okay.
And Breaking the Grass Ceiling is on Amazon Prime, and the website is grassceilingbook.com.
Perfect. And Janae, what do you have coming up this week?
This week. What's this week? This week is, let's call it, all right.
Janae's plug.
This
Plugs
is
on
my
fire.
plug. I can't figure which week it is. I know June 5th, Red Rocks.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out there.
June 7th, Comedy Works contest is starting again. They're trying to take my title away. So
Janae, the rating champ. So go out and support her. I'll be here at the Cannabis. Thanks so much to Santino and Ashley for joining us today. And thanks to you for tuning in on whatever medium you found us on, whether that's iTunes, Stitcher, or just smoke signals. For Janae Burris, producer Vince, and all of the Cannabis Show crew, I'm Jake Brown, and we'll see you next week.
I'm allowed to lose, the truth to win. I'm all in, I'm calling any posse you'll be raising at the end. I say it again, ain't afraid to get in. I be going for the jackpot with ace in my hand, I'm raw.